Hello. All right, so we are doing this is the title-based training for star consultants working on Superstar. So if you're not yet this title, that's okay. If you're above this title, that's okay too. There's no reason to not go back or to relearn things. Um, as you probably hear a lot, especially right now, a lot of leaders are really trying to bring things back to the basics. So even if you're not there yet or above this title, I think it will still be very beneficial to you. So we're going to start off with star. And as a star, to be paid a title, there's three things that have to happen every single month. We know by now, by the time we get to star, we have to continue that 500 minimum PRV every single month. That gets us qualified for that, right? That's the piece that we really have the most control over. The second piece is your group wholesale volume, and that has to be 2,500 in 1 month. Then you also have to have a minimum of 2 active frontline. So the GWV and the active frontline, like I said, those are the 2 things that are kind of out of our control. So we want to try our best to be able to keep those things at least somewhat within our control. And the way that we do that is to really help the people that we already have on our team to really reinforce not only what they're doing in their businesses, but what you're doing in your business, and sharing and keeping an open line of communication. Having whatever that looks like. I know a lot of leaders who use Marco Polo I think it's free, but it also has a paid version, I believe. But it's basically a video communication back and forth. You can take a video, say what you want, send it to the person, they can do it back. There's that. Of course, there's Facebook chats. There's Facebook pages. You can make a team or a group page if that's what you wanted to do. Maybe you guys all just want to get together on a Zoom. Maybe you want to go into Facebook rooms, right? There's so many different ways that you can connect, but you really have to concentrate on having a good line of communication, whatever that looks like. Because having that communication is what is going to help you to do the things that are not within your control. So like the GWV, like the active frontline, because we want our team members engaged. We want them focused, even if, and we probably all have a good number of them, or maybe a handful, that are just here as a hobby. We love our hobbyists. We don't want to count them out. We don't want to not give them kudos when they're doing great things. We have to really find our leadership voice. And especially when you're getting to the level of star, and as you continue to progress and move up, that's really going to come more into play. So when we're talking about our team, one of the biggest things is to empower people, right? I always say that you can't really motivate someone, right? I can sit over here and I can be the biggest hype man in the world for you. But if you don't want it, if it's not on your plate of things I want right now, then no matter how much motivation I give you, how many incentives I throw your way, it's not going to change your mind, right? So what we have to do as leaders is give our team members and their team members, as we continue to grow, we have to give them empowerment. We have to help them realize that they themselves have the ability to do anything they want to do in this business. So even for those who maybe started out as a hobby, now maybe they're changing their mind, it's a business, or vice versa. Maybe they started out wanting to run out of the gate, and now they're like, yeah, I know, my life has changed, things have gotten crazy, Scentsy's on the back burner. That's great. But having those open lines of communication is going to be the way that you're going to be able to know who you're going to be really focusing on giving that empowerment to, and who you really need to focus your time with. Because at the end of the day, time is the one thing that we cannot make more of. We all have the same hours in the day as everybody else. So regardless if you have 2 people on your team or you have 2,000 people on your team, you still have the same amount of hours. So you have to really start looking, especially like I said, when we're at this title, when we're at the star title level and above, we really need to look to see who are those emerging leaders? Who are those people who are hungry for it right now? Who are those people who have goals and are setting them and hopefully sharing them either with you or maybe in team group pages or chats or whatever? Those are the people that we want to really be the most in contact with. The others who are simply here to, get in on the LTOs. This is a hobby. I'll just order things when I want them, or if my friends want something, that's what I'm going to order. That's awesome. We're going to still keep them in the loop, but we are going to focus our intention on empowering the ones who are hungry. So one of those ways is to show up for your business, because regardless of how busy you are, all your team sees is what you're putting out there. Whether that's them following you on your social media or just following you on your Facebook group page or what have you, you need to be showing your team that you are at least opening for business. When I use the term open for business, for me, that is logging into my workstation every day. That's me literally like opening the doors to my business. I've logged into my workstation. I know where my numbers are. I know where my team numbers are. I'm ready. I'm ready to kind of move along and see what's happening. So we have to be showing up. A lot of that has to do with making the time, not taking the time, making the time to show up when there are trainings that are offered. Now, I'm never going to tell you, and I don't think anybody should ever tell you how to run your business. But at the same time, I want to encourage you to make the time to show up to the trainings that you can attend. And if you can't attend them, whether it's because you've got a job, you've got little ones, life gets in the way, you're not feeling well, all the things, then that's when you're showing your team, hey, you guys, yeah, I missed all the meetings last week. Maybe you missed everything last week. It was just a total wash. Missed it all for whatever reason, right? Hey guys, I missed everything last week, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start doing the replays. I'm going to watch all those replays. Who's with me? Who else missed them? Who wants to watch the replay and then talk about what we learned or what we got out of that training? That is just a way to show, again, you don't always have to be there at all times. Nobody's asking you to. And like I said, no one should ever put that on you. So make sure that you are just showing them the ways that they can show up too. Because there's going to be times, even if it hasn't happened to you yet, there's going to be times where maybe you do need to step back for a minute or have that moment, take that day, take the weekend, whatever it is. And your team members need to realize that too. So that's part of the thing of, again, just showing up and communicating. People thrive off of recognition. And this is where I see a lot of leaders there's a fork in the road with a lot of leaders. So when they think of recognition, a lot of leaders will instantly think of, well, I need to send happy mail, or I need to, send a gift, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. If that's within your budget, if that's how you choose to do things, that's awesome. That's great. Do what you want to do. But also realize this is your business. And maybe there's another great way to do recognition without even spending money out of your business budget. Because I will tell you, when I got to the level of star, that was one of my things. It's like, I was like, oh my gosh, now my team is growing. I don't remember exactly how many I had when I hit star, but I did have a pretty decent sized group. I want to say maybe 30-ish people on my group at that time, or in my team, in my group. And I was working full time. And during the day, I could not check my phone. I couldn't check or respond to messages. I couldn't do any of those things. I didn't have a job to where I had the ability to do that. So I had to let my team know, hey, you guys just send me the messages, send me the text, whatever. I will get to them as soon as I get off work and in the evening, and I start working for the day. Any type of recognition you do, whether you, again, want to do the big recognition or not, even just a simple text. One thing that I love to do is, well, I like Snapchat anyway, just for the funny filters. But one of the things that I love to use Snapchat for is to really just have fun in it. And I will find whatever ridiculous filter. There's a couple of them that are kind of my go-to filters, but I will do some ridiculous filter and I will just tell them, I am so proud of you. You got active for the first time, or it's been a while since you've gotten active. Congratulations, or you sponsored a new team member, whatever it is. It's done in that little fun filter. I just save it to my camera roll. I don't post it on Snapchat, but I just save it to my camera roll. And then I text them that Snapchat video. It's a short, little, silly, ridiculous thing. But here's the thing. It's going to leave them with a little bit of a smile, right? Hopefully they get a smile out of it. They get that feeling, because one of my favorite quotes, my favorite people in the world, Maya Angelou, it is not how or not what you do for people, it's how you make them feel. And so how are you making your team feel? Are you making them feel like they're included? Are you making them feel that, for them, maybe getting active is a big deal for them, right? They're still building their business perhaps, or it is a hobby and it's just every so often they get active. So even though that may not be one of your big goals, so to speak, that's a big goal for somebody else. Sponsoring a new team member, starting to show up to trainings. I love doing that. When I see somebody new that jumps on to one of the trainings that we do during the week or throughout the month, I love it. I absolutely love it. I will always send out a short little video or even just a regular text and say, hey, it was so nice to see your face, even if it wasn't their face on the video and they didn't have their camera on. It's fine. It's fine. But it's still the point of saying, hey, I see you. I see you. You're showing up. So excited you were there. Hopefully you can make the next one. It's those little things that your team is going to pick up on. And along with all of that, it's going to help empower them, because that gives them the empowerment. One of the things that we talk about a lot of leaders will talk about this too, is that sticky culture, right? So this is also part of creating that sticky culture. And that sticky culture is simply, we are creating a community, whether it's within your specific team or your whole big group or the Scentsy community as a whole. We're building that community of people who don't want to leave. Because even if it is a hobby and they're immersed into that sticky culture and they've got friends and maybe they've got accountability partners and they love showing up to that, happy hour, whatever it is, right, where they can just be themselves, they love that. And those are the things that are going to keep them staying. And from somebody who signed up wanting to just do this as a hobby and now doing this full time, I will tell you, that is one of the reasons that I stuck around. Because for me, I was either mom, wife, or an employee in a cubicle. And I really didn't have any Jacqui-ness happening in my life. None of that. Because I had kids, I didn't go out, I didn't go partying, I didn't do all the things. Scentsy was my place that I could be me, that I could just let everything else go and kind of pour myself into. And it gave me that outlet. And I am so thankful for that. Because otherwise, I probably would have quit years ago. I would have just left. But I wanted to be within this community, within the culture that was happening within Scentsy. So here's some of the things to lead from the front. Lead from the front. So never, and when I say these things, I know I want to say it like with a grain of salt, right? Because I don't ever want it to come across like I'm telling you what to do or how to work your business, because I firmly believe that everybody's going to find their own way in this business. So take this as what it's for. I recommend, do not asking your team to do anything that you either refuse to do or don't do yourself. So maybe that includes, you know, asking your team to go live when they get the whiff box and share it. Do you ever go live? If you're one of those people who never goes live and you're always harping on your team to go live, well, they're like, what the heck? Why are they making me do it and they aren't doing it, right? So if you're going to ask your team to do that, well, you're going to have to show up too, right? So don't ask your team to do things that they're not going to see you doing as well. Because again, you want to lead from the front. You want to show them what a leader looks like, because that is what they are going to follow. Focus on your PRV first. Remember that when you are looking to be paid a title, that is the one thing that is within your control. And yes, I know you cannot control your customers. You cannot make people buy from you, but you also can hustle and you can work it and you can reach out and you can find the ideas in the groups of how to do mystery bags or put together some mystery host party or a Facebook party, whatever it is, right? You have the control over that. So get your own house in order every single month. Find your system for that. A lot of leaders will say the first 2 weeks of every month, I really focus on my own business. The last 2 weeks, I kind of do more focus on my team and then my business. That's fine if that works for you. I kind of do a little bit of both. I kind of switch back and forth because what I've done over the years is I kind of give my days. Each day has a new theme. So I'm always touching my business in little ways all throughout the week. Doesn't mean that if something comes up, I'm not still going to do that, because hello, yeah, I am. I'm that person. I'm going to do it. But have your house in order. Make sure you know at least where your 500 is coming from. And then continue to increase your goals for your own PRV. Have systems in place for your business. Oh my gosh, systems. Systems are going to save you in your business. And they are going to be things, I like to call them living and breathing, because that means they change. Because maybe the system that you have today is not going to be the system that is going to work for you in 2 months' time. It may change. Your life may change. Your team dynamic may change. Maybe you have more people suddenly joining. Suddenly your team erupts and you've got double the team members than you started out with. All good things, right? But we have to be changing with all of those things, whether they're good, whether they're bad. So we have to keep evolving that. So your systems, write them down. Yeah, I use Trello. I love my Trello. I just absolutely do. I like the organization. It's pretty. It keeps me on track. But if it's a notebook, if it's Post-it notes all around your computer, whatever it is, have your systems in place. What do you do when someone joins? What do you do when someone orders? How do you follow up with previous customers? Those are the systems that you really want to focus on. And then decide on the culture that you want to have in your team. What does your culture look like in your team? So hopefully it looks something like this: willing to be open and honest and authentic. If you're struggling in an area, when I struggle in an area, I will tell my team, I am not doing well at this right now. I'm going to have to retry this, or I'm going to have to figure out a new way to do this. Because there are just some things that just aren't going to work for me or not going to work in my business. So I got to figure out how I'm going to do that. But the culture is there, the culture of being able to say, this is a safe place. Share your accomplishments here. That's what we do. We clap for each other. When we need encouragement, when we need motivation, when we need ideas, where do we go? We go to our team. And that's what you want your team to get into, the feeling of knowing that that culture is there, not somebody who's going to harp on them because they didn't get active that month. Okay. We are leaders. We are not their boss. There's a big difference there. And sadly enough, I see a lot of leaders who try to be a boss rather than a leader. And you really are going to have more success, and you're going to have more of that sticky culture, and you're going to have more of your team who are invested in you and what you're creating if you stay as a leader and not changing into a boss. You need to also, in your business, again, set your own goals every single month. As a leader, I really feel that everybody should have goals. If I like to do 3 goals every single month, I like to kind of frame them around, right? Frame them around what I need my business to do for me. So one is usually my sales goal. My next is usually my sponsoring goal. And then after that, it usually will come into what am I personally trying to get done this month? Am I working on a promotion? Do I have people in my team who are working on promotions? How can I be of service to my team? Be real with your team, because building trust with your team is what is going to make it the best culture. They are going to know that they can trust you. So if life happens, they know that they can text you and say, you know what, I've had a family emergency, what have you. This is what's going on. I need to take a step back for a minute. No problem. That's fine. I'm going to, let me know if you need me. If they've got team members, I usually will ask them right away, do you need me to jump in with your team? Is there anything I can help out with? That's what we do as leaders, right? We pick up when somebody falls. We pick up when somebody needs to take a step back. So it's not necessarily about being the boss. It's about being the leader. Leadership really is servanthood. It's really about how can I best serve my team? And that's by empowering them, sharing with them what you're doing, and also challenging them at the same time, right? Because we all have to continue growing, ourselves and our team. So when you're setting your goals for your month, make them a little bit challenging. You're never in competition with anyone except yourself. So that's what I have always said is every single month, I am just trying to beat me from last month. What did I do last month? That's what I'm trying to beat. I'm not trying to compare myself to what everybody else is doing, what everybody else's sales are, where everybody else is. It's me against me. And then it's me building my team, because that's what I'm focused on. One of Orville's quotes that I absolutely love, and is probably one of the things that has always stuck with me the most, is know the way, go the way, show the way. So by the time you've gotten to a star consultant level, right, you know how to place orders, you know how to utilize those host credits, you know those basic steps. You have to then take those steps, and then you have to be showing those steps to your team. So that's where we have our sales, our sponsoring, and our leadership or our training of our people. So that's the culture that we really want to work on. So let's talk about a little bit about some leadership basics, right? Like I said, at this point, you at least have 2 people, if not more, on your team. So having those systems, participating in the Facebook groups or the chats or whatever it is that you have set up, you have to show up. People, especially your team, are watching what you're doing. And we all know by now and through the last couple of years that obviously social media is playing a very big role in our businesses, right? Because more people are buying online, more people are following online, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever it is. People are watching. And they're watching to see how often you show up. Your team is too. They're watching to see how much you're promoting your business. That's where they're going to get their ideas for their own business, because you truly want to be that inspirational piece in your team, right? About that empowerment. How can I empower my people? Well, I can show them that I'm going to make sure that I am showing up on my social media all throughout the week. All throughout the week. I am consistent in what I do. Why? Because that's what helps me get my PRV. That's what helps me continue to have my customers come back and become repeat customers. That's what turns my customers into my Scentsy clubbers. All of those things are what works and is what we need to be doing to continue to build our own personal business. So we need to start looking for those leaders in our business. Who are the people who are hungry for it? Who are the people who are reaching out saying, I see how you've been doing reels, for example. I need to learn more. Awesome. Let's talk about it. Or I've done a little video on that, or let me show you this, or here's a tip, or here's somebody I follow that I get my inspiration from. All of those things. Finding out who your leaders are in your team. Again, remember, you're going to have people who are hobbyists. You're going to have people who maybe have decided, yes, I joined, but I don't know if this is for me anymore. I'm just not into it. I'm not doing it, whatever it is. You're identifying the people who are in this, whether it's just to be active every month or whether or not it's to grow that empire, do this full time, retire themselves, retire their spouses, whatever it is that they've got going. Those are the people that you're going to identify and you're going to put on your leaders list. So start creating a leaders list. Who are my people to watch? I have a Trello board. And well, I've got a lot of Trello boards, but I have a Trello card set up for my watch list. Those are the people I'm watching. Those are my emerging leaders. When somebody hits the title of lead, that's when I start kind of pulling all lead and above is when I pull everybody out and I start to see who is in this business, who is constantly showing up or consistently showing up, who is consistently putting in sales every month, who is consistently at least on social media showing up, right? No matter what that looks like, if it's TikTok, if it's Facebook, if it's going live, whatever it is. Who are those people? So have your leaders list ready because those are the people that you are going to start pouring into. And this is where I will say coaching calls can come in very handy at this point. Because I don't know, there's probably is, I know there is, because I've heard it a handful of times. I just don't remember exactly what it is. But I want to say it's like for every 4-star consultants, that equals 1 director. What that really means is the people who are getting to lead, to star, to superstar, and above, those are the people who we need to be watching. Those are the people who have the hunger, have the intention, and have the goals to do something with this business. So if we are in our business saying, I still have big dreams, right? Like I'm a star director. I'm not done yet, right? I'm not done. I'm not where I want to be. I'm still working hard every single day in my business. And so I want my leaders to see that. So setting up coaching calls is something that you can do that is going to help you to have more connection with those leaders that you're watching. It's going to build trust between you and those people. And it's going to just open those lines of communication that is just necessary in being a good leader. So a coaching call, here's the thing. I am certified with Scentsy as a coach. I went through the program. I learned something. I've been doing this for 10 years. I'm always learning something. I learned when I was going through the coaching program that there is a difference between coaching and mentoring. And I realized that for probably the last 9 years, I think the majority of what I've been doing, even though I've called it coaching, I've really been doing more mentoring. So here's the difference. I'm going to break it down for you guys. So that way, you know, way before I ever did. So mentoring is when you're teaching or showing someone how to do things. This is going to be probably looking like the conversations when someone initially joins, right? How are you doing their onboarding, their first 15 days for Shooting Star, their first 70 days for Sensational Start, getting them to certified or above. What are you doing in those steps? 9 times out of 10, you are mentoring them because you're telling them, here's what I do, or here's what works, or here's what might work for you around your schedule. Facebook parties might be better for you because you're very busy or you've got the kids, what have you. This is when you are in that I'm going to teach you mode. Okay. And so there's only really a handful of times where mentoring really is needed. It's needed at the beginning of their journey, and it will be needed when they either have gotten to a new title or when you start to see that their team is growing. Now, especially when we have join specials and things like that, you're going to see there's going to be bursts within your team as you continue to grow of people who are suddenly, you open up for business one day and you're like, oh my gosh, we gained 2 new team members, or you're getting the emails, right? Whatever it is, you're seeing those bursts. And so when you're seeing that and you've got your leader watch list and you see that someone has just gained 4 new team members, whether they've sponsored them or someone else has sponsored them on their team, that would be a really great time to check in and do that mentor call. Hey, I see you've got some people. What does your system look like for when the people you have sponsored sponsor someone? What does that look like to you? What are you doing? Asking those questions, right? To get to the answers, to figure out how you can best teach them, show them. Maybe it's pointing them to videos that helped you during that time, or showing up to a training, or check this out on the workstation, or hey, why don't you give me a call? We'll talk through it. Those are mentoring calls. Those are times that we want to be a mentor. When we're coaching is not teaching. I'm going to tell you, when I did this and I learned the difference between the two, it completely changed the way that I did my business as a leader. So coaching is really just being there for your team members. So having, if you want to call it the coaching call, I'm trying to start calling mine more like action calls than coaching calls. But some people get a little weirded out when they hear the coaching thing, okay? So whatever it is that you call it, you want to have those coaching calls, and you really want to just, as I would tell Madison when she was younger, put your ears on. Put your ears on. On a coaching call, the person on that call should be doing more talking than you are. You need to have your ears on and be listening. Let them talk. So when I do a coaching call, I usually will send out, I have a jot form that I've created, but whether it's Google form, whether it's just an email, whether it's a text, whatever it looks like, right? What I like to know is, what do you want to get out of this call? I want to know what their goal is. Are they having trouble with sponsoring? Are they having trouble getting their team involved and motivated, right? Whatever it is, I have to figure out what it is they want to focus on. Because yes, I could have a coaching call with one person and we could talk about every aspect of the business, but that's going to take a whole lot of time, right? Remember, time's the one thing that we can't get more of. And you have a business to run, and you have other team members, and you probably have obligations and a job and family and all the things, right? So as much as we'd love to sit there and be on the phone with our team members all day long, we know we can't. So we have to make sure that a coaching call is set up with a goal in mind. What do they want out of the call? So once you identify that, when you get on the call, the very first thing that I do is I'll do, hello, how have you been? Whatever, have the little conversation. And then I immediately will jump in and say, okay, so today we're going to talk about building your team. So I see that you've got 3 new team members that joined last month. What do you have going on with them? What have you done with them so far? And again, stepping back. This was the hardest part for me to learn, I will tell you right now, because by nature, I am more of a teacher. I love that. I love doing that, right? It's really hard for me to have those coaching calls or coaching conversations and not jump in every time and be like, oh, well, wait a minute, I did this and it worked out so well, so you should try it this way. Okay, that's a mentor call, right? That's teaching them something. As the coaching call, it is sitting back and listening. And it's really hard for me. It was hard. I'm still getting through it. There's still moments where I have to catch myself. But when they will get to a point where they've talked and you will want to jump in, right? Like, oh, hey, well, yeah, I saw something in this group. You got to stop yourself. You were there for their goal. That call is about them, right? And there are times where your team is probably just going to need an ear to listen. That's okay. Be that ear to listen. That's building the trust. That's building the connection between you and your team. That's building your culture within your team, right? So let them vent. Let them be frustrated for a minute. That's fine. That's normal. That's natural. We all get frustrated, but we don't stay there. That's the difference, right? Even if we're frustrated, even if, oh my gosh, those shipping times, right? We all have that, but we do it. We get through it. Maybe we vent about it to our leader or to our friend, and we move on with our day. And that's what we're teaching our team members during those coaching calls, making sure that they really understand that this is their time. So you're going to listen during those coaching calls, and then you're going to really need to ask open-ended questions. Still, I have to remind myself every time. I'm telling you, there's a work in progress. There's an art to it. But asking those open-ended questions. So maybe they are struggling with sponsoring or struggling with, let's say they're struggling with keeping their team engaged, getting them to work. That's probably one of the most popular ones that I hear is nobody on my team is working right now. All right. What have you tried? Who have you talked to? How are you communicating with your team? Have you done any trainings with your team, right? All of those are open-ended questions, and you're going to allow them to answer. You're not going to throw in the teaching, okay? You're going to allow them to answer, and you're going to listen. And you as a leader, you being in this, you've been doing this for a minute, right? You've gotten all the way to star or above. You've been in this for a minute, so you may have even have gone through these things yourself. But you're going to give them that empowerment back. And you're going to remind them, hey, here's what you have control over. You cannot motivate every person on your team. Just like I said at the beginning, right? I can hype you up all day long. Does not matter if you are not invested. That's what we need our team members to realize when they're coming to us with those things. That yes, it's frustrating. Yes, I get it. It's annoying. It is. And you're like, gosh, I want so much for them. Yeah, you do. But we can't want this business for everybody. They have to want it first. So they've got to give in. So starting out with those coaching calls will help you build those connections, build that culture, and build that trust within your leaders. Remember, have your leader list. Now, I do, of course, because I'm me, I open up coaching or mentor calls to everybody in my group, just because that's who I am and what I love to do. Okay, this is nothing that you need to be doing, but I would highly suggest keeping that leaders list or that watch list and working with those people. And you're going to have times when you're going to have people who may all of a sudden, you haven't heard from them for maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And all of a sudden they're like, hey, I've got a question for you. Oh my gosh, I love when I get those messages or PMs on my Facebook, right? And it pops up and I'm like, oh my gosh, yay. Maybe they're getting more motivated in their business. I get all excited, right? Because that's what I want. I want them to ask questions. I want them to know they can come to me with anything because that means they're working their business. Same thing I tell Madison every day. Mistakes are proof you are trying. Oh my gosh, that Facebook party sucked. Well, you tried it, right? You did it. Let's move on. What can we try next? How can we pivot? Maybe we can try it a different way. Hey, in this group over here, you should join that group because they've got a ton of tips over there. I've found it really useful. These are the things that we need to be putting into our team and pouring into. So along with having that watch list, we're going to kind of track those leaders, right? We're going to track those people who are moving and who are hungry. And here's the thing. When you are doing recognition, you want to recognize the behaviors you want repeated. So if that's just getting active every month, you want to recognize those people who are getting active every single month. That's one of the things, right, that you need to be paid at title. You need to at least have 2 people active every single month. So you've got to find a way to be able to do, you can't do it for them. You have to find a way to empower them to want to get to that point. So maybe that is when you're having a call or in your chat with your team, whatever it is, opening up and being more honest about you and your business. I am very honest with my business, with my team in particular, right? I always tell them I didn't wake up one day and have a team. I had to go through a lot. I was a SuperStar consultant for 4 years. 4 years. Most of that time was because for me, I was very consumed with my job and I could not put a lot of time into my business. And when I did, I couldn't find my rhythm. And now looking back, I realized I didn't have any systems in place. So because I was so busy at the job, at the cubicle life, that by the time I got home, I was just so done with everything. I did not even have the energy to figure out, what do I even need to do today? Because I had no systems in place. Had I had systems in place, I would know what I was doing every single day. I would know that there are some things I can automate, right? Like even if you don't use Visly, SendShare, whatever, right? You can get on Facebook and you can schedule posts in a group. It's free. Comes with Facebook. Did you know that you can get on Canva? Now, I'm not sure if this is the pro version or not, so I'm not sure. I will try and find out. But you can also schedule posts through Canva. There is a way to schedule through Canva. There are ways that you can keep your systems growing and moving even if you are not. I don't know how many times I've had conversations, joined conversations with people who are interested in joining, and probably maybe 60% of the time I will get, well, I see that you're on social media a lot. I don't have time to be on social media all day. I don't either. I got stuff to do. Dinner doesn't cook itself. Laundry doesn't get done by itself. Working my own business doesn't get done by itself. It's just me. I'm the marketing team, the CEO, the financial officer, right? I'm all the things. I'm not on social media all day, but I have systems in place that help me to have my business running 24/7. It didn't happen overnight. Those were things that I built and built and built and built from consistency and from continuing to pour into myself as well. As a leader, as you're growing into your leadership, I want you to feel yourself growing into that leadership. And when you feel yourself growing into that leadership, picture your cup filling. Remember, we have to fill our own cup to be able to pour out to others, right? So if you're a reader, that's when you're probably gonna have a list of books that you're ready to go. If you love listening to the podcast or you're in the car a lot, hopefully you've got some podcasts ready to go that you know I can listen to when I'm in the car. If you're a video person, trust me, there's tons of YouTube videos out there to watch. Find what those ways are to pour into yourself to keep yourself empowered. Because just like we're empowering our team, we have to have the power ourselves. Because I will tell you, for those 4 years, especially as a SuperStar consultant, I felt very burned out. I was not pouring into my own cup. And again, that's part of the reason why it took me so long to get to director, because I wasn't pouring into me. And in order for me to be able to be the best leader I can be, to be the most help I can be to other people, I gotta be at my best. It's the same thing when you're on the airplane, right? What do they tell you? If you're with a child or with someone who can't take care of themselves, you take the oxygen mask first and then you give it to them, because you cannot help someone else if you are not full. So remember to take time to empower yourself. And for everybody, that's going to look different. Like I said, whether it's books, videos, whatever. For me, a lot of times it's just, I like to do meditations. I will go in, I will take my AirPods, and I will tell my husband, I'm taking 30 minutes and I will go in the bedroom. I will lay on the bed. I will put my AirPods in and I will just do a little meditation. They've got all those guided meditations out there, right? And I will literally just meditate and I'll come out and it's like I'm a whole brand new person 30 minutes later, 20 minutes later, however long it took me. Just that little bit of self-care can get me through one of those days or through one of those months. Guys, you're going to have good months. You're going to have great months. You're going to have not so great months. Maybe sometimes a bad month. It's going to happen in business, right? But we learn from those things. We pivot when we find out things are not working. It's the same thing with our teams as a leader. And we are teaching them by doing all of those things. Because remember, they're watching. They're watching their leaders to know who shows up. Who are the leaders that are coming in? Who are the leaders that are pouring into other people? They're watching. And hopefully it's you, because that's what's going to create that culture for you and help you to really grow your business even farther and get to superstar consultant and not stay there for 4 years, by the way, because you're going to have systems in place and you're going to be empowering yourself and you're going to have a team that is fully empowered because you're ready to go. You are ready to run and build this empire. So find your systems, work on those. Like I said, they're living and breathing. So it doesn't mean that once you write it down means that's the only way that it's ever going to get done. You can change, you can pivot, you can work with them as you need to, as your business grows, as your team grows, as you grow. Because we're coming upon SFR, and I'm going to tell you right now, you are going to come out of, whether it's virtual, whether you're going in person, you are going to come out of SFR a brand new leader. Sorry. The dog. So get ready and get prepared because it's coming. We are going to have more time to talk about this, and we're going to be doing these every month. So I will have those events set up. Thank you guys for joining today, being a part of the virtual classroom. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.